Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel FPL Raw. Today's video I will be going through the most owned players currently in Fantasy Premier League in the goalkeeper, defender, midfielder and forward positions. Let's start with the goalkeepers currently right now, and to a lot of surprise it's Matt Turner at Nottingham Forest, who's currently owned at 24.5% for Fantasy Premier League managers. Second is David Raya at Arsenal at 21.3%. Then comes Jordan Pickford at 5 million, 18.4% owned. Then we have Flecken from Brentford at 13.4% and Martinez at 12.6%. Now, as mentioned with Turner, there's no guarantee that he is going to be the starting goalkeeper for Nottingham Forest this season. However, he looks like, according to a lot of managers, the confident pick at goalie. So we'll have to see if this is the person that Nuno is going to go with. We have Sells as well, who also played a big part last season for Nottingham Forest. So right now, he is the most owned goalkeeper in Fantasy Premier League. If I had to pick out of this top 5 list, I would probably go with Jordan Pickford, just based on his performances at the end of last season and in the Euros. He's got an opportunity to make some bonus points for you in regards to the saves and the shots that he's going to be facing with Everton, since they're going to be probably battling again down on the lower places. However, options with Flecken, Martinez and Raya are all great as well, but just from my personal opinion, I would probably go with Jordan Pickford. Moving on to defenders. Now, not a surprise here, had a fantastic season with Arsenal last year as they were challenging for the Premier League title. William Saliba, 41% owned currently for the Arsenal defender. Then we have Gavidal from Manchester City, who is 31.5% owned. Then Pedro Porro at 24.7% owned. Then comes Dan Burn at 24%, and then Joachim Anderson at 22.3%. Honestly, I can't see anything wrong with any of these options. They're all great options. I know with Burn and Anderson, good budget pickups, especially if you're trying to put money towards other positions in midfield, forward, and try and get those premium players. Those are great options to have. I have them in my first draft. Pedro Porro had some great performances for Spurs last season. 5.5 million is not a bad price point for him, but I'm not surprised Saliba's up there. He's one of the top defenders. He's a threat at goal and can get you that extra points from the goals. So right now he's the most owned defender, and we'll see how that progresses and see how the other defenders' percentage changes as we progress towards the beginning of the season. Now, midfielders, and again, not surprised here. We've mentioned this before in my FPL video. He's a very popular pick with fantasy managers, is Cole Palmer. He's 41% owned right now. He's got that price increase, but that hasn't really swayed managers away from selecting the Chelsea star. Then we have Gordon at 31.5%. Then Eze 24.7%. Mo Salah at 24%, and then Phil Foden at 22.3%. With Palmer, like I said, he is going to be a key cog for Chelsea, so I'm not surprised to see him being picked up by those managers, with the penalties on deck for him as well, and also having his goal involvements throughout the games for Chelsea. Gordon, great pickup as well. I've considered him as well. He's a really, really good player for Newcastle. Has shown he can get the goals, can get the assists, and is really involved in a lot of their attacking play. Eze, who I have in my draft team currently, at 7 million, 24.7% owned, so clearly a lot of managers are investing in Eze. And then Mohamed Salah, expensive price point, but still quite high up there in ownership. People are still confident in Salah, as it sees here. And then Phil Foden, who obviously was the player of the season for Manchester City last year, was fantastic. Not so good in the Euros, had a bit of a quiet Euros, but he was so good in the Premier League last season. I'm not surprised to see him with that high ownership currently, and we'll see how the midfielders progress as well as we approach towards the beginning of the season. Lastly, we're going to look at the forwards. Now, Ollie Watkins. This is a great option for fantasy managers, and clearly by his ownership, 56%, a lot of people agree with that. He's going to be the main guy for Aston Villa up top again. Obviously, they're going to have to balance games between the Premier League and the Champions League this season, but Aston Villa's investing a lot in their squad, so they're going to have those rotational players. But look for Watkins to be one of the first names on the team sheet for Unai Emery and Aston Villa. Then comes Isak, who I have in my team. Great price point as well, 8.5 million, 54.7% owned. Again, potential goals, assists for Isak, very involved in the attacking play for Newcastle. Then Mr. Erling Haaland, 15 million at 33% owned. His ownership has dropped significantly from last season, but still managers are trying to get him in somehow and moving around players to make sure they get Erling Haaland for Manchester City. Then João Pedro, 5.5 million, a great budget pickup for fantasy managers. I have him in my team, currently injured but not a serious injury, so expect him to be ready for the start of the season. 20.8% owned currently by fantasy Premier League managers. And then lastly, Kai Havertz, 14.2%, had a decent Euros, ended up being the main striker for Arsenal last season, so look for him again to be a focal point in Arteta's team. 8 million's quite high, but clearly managers are still going for him as one of the key points for Arsenal and their team. However, Watkins is the most owned currently for strikers and forwards, so look for that to continue as a very popular pickup for managers this season. So let's look at the team selection of the most owned players. Obviously, we've gone through each position. This is what it looks like for the most owned players, including those bench players as well. Turner in goal, Saliba, Gvardiol and Pedro Porro. This is obviously for a 3-5-2 formation, but it obviously can mix around depending on what managers are looking to do. Then you've got Cole Palmer, Gordon, Eze, Salah and Foden in the midfield, and then Watkins, Isak up top, with bench players Raya, Burn, Anderson and Erling Haaland. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. Just wanted to give you an insight on the most owned players currently in the Fantasy Premier League world. Feel free to look at all the statistics again so you can mix and match your team. And if you like this video, please like the video, subscribe, and I look forward to seeing you again for a future video.